got the clips and shit that I wanted to watch. Oh, here they are. Okay, so hi, this is Lori.
And this is Peter again.
And we're with Action Heroes LA or Heroes Character Rental Service, whatever one you want to call it. Action Heroes LA. And we are here to review Game of Death.
Game of Death.
So we are here in this is where we usually record our reviews, but I've had some in this pandemic times. I've done some changes. I've set up a little movie theater here, basically. And Peter and I have
the
Lark Light Theater, basically. And Peter and I have been getting together, and since we can't go to new movies, we've been catching up on some old movies. And we decided to check out Game of Death. You suggested it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a movie. We're of the age group. Kind of, you're a kid in the 60s and 70s. It's like you're a huge Bruce Lee fan. You know, he was he was the man.
Yes.
So he was just amazing. So, but I don't know how many Bruce Lee films I can say I've seen. I can count maybe one definitely. The second one, seen the main, the main great fight scene of it, him versus Norris. That's what we kind of came across. It's like, what about Game of Death? It's like, I don't know if I've really seen this movie all the way through.
Yeah. And I have never seen it.
Yes.
I've seen little, and I mean, after we watched it, I didn't know how much I hadn't seen.
Right.
But when I was coming up, Bruce Lee was Kato on Green Hornet.
That's right.
And I was in love with the Green Hornet.
The superhero connection right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the best.
He was the best.
Which it's funny because in Asia, in Hong Kong, I believe they called it the Kato show rather than Green Hornet. So he was the best part of the show.
Yeah, he was.
And so being fans of Bruce Lee for a lot of years, and I'm just like, going back to history. I remember, discovering Bruce Lee as a kid, but it was around the time he died. It was like, oh my God, this guy is great. Then within a week, I was like, oh, he died? What? So it's kind of an interesting thing. And then, just being a fan since then, he was just amazing.
And I know you and I have talked about it. And from what I had remembered as a kid, growing up, I related to you, but I don't know if you, the audience, knows that Bruce Lee was so fast that when he was playing Kato, when they did a first fight scene or whatever, they actually asked him, they said, you have to slow down because the camera can't pick up your moves.
Right.
And the cameras back then, I guess, weren't great, but they were picking up, you can have a horse.
Yeah,
riding by because
these guys are incredibly fast. So, but let's get into it. So it's an oversight. I remember wanting to see Game of Death a lot when I was a kid. And apparently, it didn't come out until 1978, and Bruce Lee died around 1973. But I don't recall. It wasn't memorable, or I don't know if I saw it or anything, but it didn't stick in my memory. And there's probably a reason why. So you want to get into Game of Death?
Yes.
Let's get into it. So finally watching this, and this clips are for fair use, please. Oh my God. Okay, so turns out Game of Death, Bruce Lee had only filmed parts of this movie. He was in the process of making it before he died. Excuse us, it's July 3rd. There's all kinds of legal fireworks going on in my neighborhood, just to let you know. But he was...
Wait, those are legal?
Illegal.
Oh, okay.
Illegal.
Okay.
But they're, I don't mind that. But so there, he shot maybe over 100 minutes, but a lot of it was outtakes, or only about 30 minutes were usable. What the producers of this film decided to do was take only about 11 minutes of that and craft some kind of ridiculous story around it using doubles. There's two doubles standing in with Bruce Lee, and it's so obvious because most of the time they shoot the double, he's in a shadow and has sunglasses on, you know, the kind of Bruce Lee used to wear at the time, and the fight scenes are just lacking energy. And, you know,
but probably the best part is why
I'm cracking up so hard when he broke this out.
There is a part where they have the guy sitting looking with the camera. They
superimpose a picture of Bruce Lee on the face on the screen. It's obviously a photograph or some early Photoshop or something. It is so bad.
It's bad.
And yeah,
but it's so bad. It's good.
It's so bad. It's good. We had so much fun watching this movie, and we watched it in here in the Larklight Theater. So, but there are so many scenes. There was even a point he gets shot in the face, and he has to be bandaged. His face has to be bandaged for a period of time in the movie. Just the amount of they had to hide that this, you know, this isn't Bruce Lee, is hilarious. So, and then we finally get to the highlight of the movie, and it's, of course, these infamous scenes here with him in the yellow and black tracksuit. And the movie just automatically becomes fantastic.
Yes.
You know, it's
now, one thing I always heard, he was a good director, good writer, and stuff like this. However, I also knew that back then, Asian movies that came over, they spoke in
Chinese,
yeah,
Cantonese, or Mandarin,
right? But so when they came over here and they were dubbed, of course, it did the thing that a lot of comics do. You know, it's okay, come over here.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know,
and dubbing is pretty bad. But,
yeah,
it's
really
endearing
bad.
In its own way.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But it's really horrible. They get the same three people to dub all these same movies and do all the characters, and it's very noticeable. But you know, that's kind of half the charm of some of those movies.
But I said that because that's one of the reasons I never really
wanted to see.
Yeah, never really wanted to see it. And when they were doing Enter the Dragon and everything, I was trying to figure out how to get into the dragon.
Okay.
So that's a whole different thing.
Okay.
Well, anyway, it just I was doing something else. So, you know, taking time out of my day to go watch that movie or say it's a new Bruce Lee movie. No, because I knew Bruce Lee's going to be here forever, and that's just it. You know. Yeah, but I had heard that he was good, but I was like, yeah, you know what? How good can he be? You know, I think this movie actually showed how good he was because American producers, directors, and everything tried to take his pieces and create a movie around it because Bruce Lee had died and he had not finished the movie. And his
scripts and his notes or anything that his plans for the movie didn't surface till like the mid-90s. So they didn't know what he had in mind.
But our directors and everything, well, you know, they don't have to know because they're better, right?
Right. They're professionals, right?
Yeah.
They're filmmakers.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah, there's a really stupid story.
Yes.
That they crafted, really lame villains, you know. But
yes.
I don't know if it's even worth getting into. What I want to talk to you about, we're talking about Bruce Lee. I never thought of him as a writer, director, producer, fight choreographer, or anything like that. He was just, he's this mythological figure. You know, he's this badass on screen, incredible charisma, just, you know, kicks everybody's ass, you know, he was just just bigger than life. And watching this, it just like really hit me that he knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Filmmaking wise. And he wore so many hats on this movie. And one of the things I loved in the last, minutes in these fight scenes you're seeing here is he really knows how to build tension.
Yes.
And a fight and suspense. It's not just now we just get fight. Look at all this action. We get inundated with it. He knew how to pause, let the tension build between the fighters, let the dynamics, the strength of the dynamics, the difference of the characters. And it's so impressive. I wish more people will watch this who film fight scenes and like take notes. This stuff is great. And they say he really knew for fight choreography where the camera was, where the place where it looked best. And you could see it in this movie in these 11 minutes. That it's
yeah. Well, when you say about him building the tension, usually like even in today's movies, you build the tension over here, and then you come to the fight with that tension.
Yeah, the tension's building up throughout the story before you get to the fight.
With this, it seemed that there was a little story of the tension, but then they came on screen, and as they were starting to fight, the tension is mounting. Even during the fight, more tension is mounting, which is, I would almost say, a lost art because, but Bruce Lee created that art, and once we lost Bruce Lee, that was it.
I don't know if people figured out. And I think I go back to I think it's Way of the Dragon, where he has that final great amazing fight scene against Chuck Norris, and that's another one where the dynamic, he builds it up, and just the pauses that he does, and it's not just all speed and stuff. He knows how to pause and speed, and it's so good. And I wish it really is. People need to study what he did. And maybe they can't. If you're not Bruce Lee, maybe you can't do it.
Well, now see. Now going with that, going back to the movie, what is that? Hollywood, whatever.
Which one?
The one Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well, in there they show Bruce Lee as this cocky guy,
right?
And he fights. He loses.
He loses, yeah. Which was
Bruce Lee is not losing,
right?
But two, I thought of Bruce Lee as, he must be cocky.
Yeah.
And he is cocky because everything that I have seen of him,
right,
even though it was taken from some movie or something, he has this, or he shows this cocky side of his character.
Right.
So when his daughter started, my dad wouldn't be like that. It's like, no, of course he is. But that's what I saw.
This is what, your memory, your recollection of what you watched, what you thought Bruce Lee was.
Right.
It's is what I think is what you saw on screen and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then when I saw that scene, I was like, okay, I know this movie. This movie is a fantasy. This is a fairy tale. It just kind of like, that was my first tip. And and watching the whole movie, it's like, okay, this is Quentin Tarantino's version of a fairy tale, basically. Right? Because ain't nobody beating Bruce Lee's ass. I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is,
definitely not Brad Pitt. Come on.
The that scene or that thought did come. It was true, but they didn't tell it all the way.
Okay.
Which was, there was this huge guy.
Okay.
And he grabbed Bruce Lee, and without Bruce Lee knowing it.
Oh, kind of.
And he,
off guard.
Yeah, and he kind of threw him down or something like that. And then Bruce Lee jumped up and jumped on him. And they said, before Bruce Lee could do anything else, talk about somebody being fast, the guy said, "Please don't kill me.
Oh, okay.
Please don't hurt me."
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it's a thing of, Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, he wasn't, and that's another thing. His daughter and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which who should we talk? We should talk about, but he, Shannon Lee and Kareem have said how they were upset with how his portrayal of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because like one of the things is like it, and people used to try to pick fights with Bruce Lee a lot, you know, and when he was older, star and stuff, not his younger, not about his younger days, but he would never fight. He's like, he didn't need to fight them. I was like, he didn't need to prove himself and stuff. He understood who he was and what he could do. So he would always walk away from fights. He would not really, you know, unless you know, there's a story of the kung fu schools coming after him because he was teaching non-Chinese and stuff, and that he did engage in a fight with that, and he won.
Yes,
you know, he won their respect, and like we're going to leave him alone and let him teach people outside of our culture. So let's talk about Kareem. He's on this scene right here. So obviously, you know, Kareem's in this, and he's, you know, what's a 7 foot tall basketball player gonna look doing kung fu, doing martial arts? I said it can't look good, but you know, he acquitted himself pretty well. I was pretty
well.
impressed.
He did,
yeah,
because Bruce Lee taught him.
Yeah, he was a student of Bruce Lee. They were very good friends. And I mean, just the way he's used. I love the scene where he's pulling up his top. That talk about build suspense. It's like, holy shit. That's just such a great, you know, thing. But yeah, I mean, acting wise, when you got these guys, incredible martial artists. You got one of the greatest NBA players in history. So they're not the best actors in the world. That's kind of the downfall of this. The great portions of this movie is, you got some kind of funky line readings and stuff, but you know, the tension is there, the characterization is there, and that's like these are the last three. These were the last three fights. The story is amazing,
right?
So, I do want to mention. Along with this, we're reviewing this. Game of Death movie sucks, but we did also watch Bruce Lee: A Warrior's Journey, which is a documentary about the making of Game of Death and what Bruce Lee originally intended, which is a fantastic documentary. So I recommend watching Game of Death, the movie that was released in '78, for fun and laughs and giggles. It's a lot of fun, and it's so bad it's good, it's great. Then watch Bruce Lee: A Warrior's Journey and just be he was an amazing man. He was just an incredible human being, outside of just the fighting. He was brilliant, just a smart man, and you know,
he had a plan.
He had a philosophy.
He set upon it, and wow. He would have. He was a incredible person, but he would have knocked down so many doors and so many stereotypes.
Right.
And I believe in the documentary he talks about that.
Yeah.
Kind of talks about the stereotypes, and he goes, "No, you know."
He would not accept the degrading roles they'd have for Asian people at the time.
Right.
And because of that, he went to Hong Kong and started. Hollywood wasn't giving him any roles. In fact, he created the TV show Kung Fu. He's the one who came up with the idea, and they wouldn't cast him as the lead. How do you not cast Bruce Lee as the lead in a show called Kung Fu? What is wrong with you? Oh my God! So he went to Hong Kong, started making movies, became this mega star, and died too young. And I have to say, unfortunately, you know, he could have broken so many barriers, but in a way, when people die young, they become even larger than life. So who knows if he may have even broken more barriers than we could. I don't know. It's kind of, you wonder if it's, he becomes this legend now.
Oh, he definitely
respected by
becomes a
people
legend
across the world, no matter who you are or where you came from.
Everybody has to look at what he did.
Yeah.
And start and not so much see the movie or what came on screen, what finally came on screen, but that he put this together.
Yeah.
He did this. He got the camera angles,
Yeah,
everything,
everything.
that
Everything is
that you
just
talked about,
meticulously thought out,
yes,
well thought out, and just well executed,
mhm,
and just incredible craft.
mhm,
And I think not just a big loss, he was a megastar, but just as a filmmaker, the potential
mhm,
he has as a filmmaker.
mhm,
Now I'm kind of realizing what a loss that was.
yeah,
So, which is something that really surprised me, and that's just from 11 minutes in this completely horrible movie that's about 90 minutes long,
yeah.
I think. So, do you have any final thoughts on it, or anything
Hmm.
else you want to add?
Yes, I do. Ha!
Oh my God.
Ha!
Oh no, he's tearing up the chair. He's tearing up the garage. He's tearing up the lark fight. He's tearing up my theater, man. It
No,
is,
but
yeah,
Bruce Lee
yeah.
was he was, well, that's the thing
Mhm.
about watching this movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a movie that he made.
Mhm.
He has
whole-
clips, yeah, he has clips that he had already filmed,
Right.
and but like you said, the script wasn't discovered
Until the
until,
mid 90s, something
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
almost like 20 or more than 20 years
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
this
20,
movie
25 years later.
this movie was made.
Mhm.
And so they didn't make the movie he was going to make,
No, they did not.
but you have to see the movie.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to see the movie.
If you have, if you see, recommend seeing Game of Death. It is not a great movie, but it is. If you've seen it, leave comments. Let us know what you think. Let us, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Let us know what you think. I'd love to continue a discussion about this, and as Bruce Lee, as more than just the legend we know him, and some of the things that he had to offer that maybe we don't talk about a lot. So,
Oh, now one thing, I was at I can't remember the prop house I was at the
Okay.
time, but one of the guys, Greg Jean,
mhm.
he had he brought me some things when he heard that I was a Green Hornet fan.
Okay.
He had brought some of the guns that the Green Hornet had.
Oh, wow.
He told me what they were, and he was
From the show?
showing them. Yeah, from the show,
Wow,
the
dude.
actual stuff.
No.
Then he handed me one of the darts that Kato had.
No. No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I looked at it. I teared up. I'm starting to tear up now.
Oh.
And I was going, Bruce Lee had this in his hand. And I was looking at it, and I think I was only like 4 years into the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to tell this guy, or ask this guy who's an icon in the business,
Mm-hmm.
hey, can I fix this for you and finish it? Then I'll give it back to you.
Oh.
But the thing is, because I think one of the wings was missing,
Okay,
or whatever. But
I wouldn't want to touch it. Just
it was.
Unless
and the thing is, when I used to play darts on my dartboard,
mm-hmm.
one of the things Bruce Lee would do, I started doing, and that's, you don't throw darts this way,
Mm-hmm.
throw them underhand.
Oh.
And I started being able to even make bullseyes.
Oh wow.
With that. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that was part of his thing. Mm-hmm. He would throw these darts underhand.
Oh wow.
Oh my God.
Just a badass.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Our stream is being temporarily blocked because we decided copyright and audio video. Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't like the video.
Okay.
All right. So they're temporarily blocking us, but we're gonna continue. Let's wrap this up.
Okay.
So that's Game of Death, starring the amazing Bruce Lee. We out, and be water, my friends.
Be water.